And what's going on, everybody? I am Kadarius Washington, and it is a Football Friday, which means it's time for another edition of the CW Six Pack, our weekly pick segment where we take 6 games across the NFL slate and we pick them against the spread. It was a rough week of picks for us last week, folks. We went 2-4 in our picks last week. I'm not going to rehash them all, but the only picks that we got right last week was Detroit minus 8.5 against the Commanders, and the Eagles plus 1.5 against the Packers on Monday Night Football. So we went 2-4 last week. Our season total is now 29-33-1, but nevertheless, it's a new week. Time for some new picks. Let's do it. So game number 1, we've got the Madrid-Spain game, the final game of the 2025 International Series. Hallelujah. We've got the Washington Commanders taking on the Miami Dolphins. Miami 2.5-point favorites here. The Commanders coming off of that blowout loss to the Lions, and the Dolphins coming off of a blowout win against the Buffalo Bills. And listen, folks, the Commanders' defense has been one of the worst in the NFL. Bottom 5 in every category, and in their last 4 games, these are the points that they've surrendered. 44, 28, 38, 44, and on top of that, this offense has 0 playmakers with no Jaden Daniels, and Miami, believe it or not, has been on a little bit of a roll recently, and I can see that defense torching that Commanders defense, and I know that picking these international games has been weird, but I can't see this game being any type of competitive. I am smashing the Dolphins minus 2.5 here. All right, early afternoon window. I'm only going to do one game here, and that's the Los Angeles Chargers going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Chargers, of course, coming off a win last Sunday night against Pittsburgh, while the Jaguars blew that game last week against a Davis Mills-led Houston Texans squad. Jacksonville, once again, folks, not as good as their record indicated. They've lost 3 of their last 4. Meanwhile, the Chargers have won 3 straight, and Justin Herbert has played really well despite both of his starting tackles being down for the year. And this is an extremely well-coached Chargers team, and from what I've seen this year, all I can say is this: Justin Herbert is that dude. Trevor Lawrence is not. And I trust the Chargers a heck of a lot more than I trust the Jaguars. And plus, the Chargers have done good for us, especially early in the 6-pack this year. So I'm going to smash the Chargers minus 2.5 in this matchup. All right, late afternoon window. We have a couple of marquee late afternoon games. Let's start with the Seattle Seahawks against the Los Angeles Rams. Rams 3.5-point favorites at home. Both teams coming off of blowout wins. You can make an argument that these are the 2 best teams in the NFL right now and in the NFC. First place in the NFC West is on the line here. Seattle ranks 3rd in the NFL in scoring offense and 5th in scoring defense, while the Rams are number 2 in scoring defense and 5th in scoring offense. Both Sam Darnold and Matthew Stafford are MVP candidates. Matthew Stafford, 5-0 against Seattle since joining the Rams in 2021. Stafford has gone 3 straight games with 4 or more touchdown passes and no interceptions, which is the longest regular season streak in NFL history. And since week 4, Stafford has thrown 20 touchdown passes without an interception. Meanwhile, Sam Darnold leads the NFL in yards per attempt at 9.9 yards this season, and Jackson Smith-Njigba, who has been the best wide receiver in football this year, leads the NFL with 1,041 receiving yards. And listen, 2,000 receiving yards is not out of the realm of possibility for Jackson Smith and Jigba. I think this is going to be by far one of the best games of the week. This game could go in either direction, but I'm going to lay the 3.5 with the Rams here. I like both teams, but I like the Rams just a bit more in this matchup here. All right, let's do the Kansas City Chiefs against the Denver Broncos. Chiefs, 4.5-point favorites on the road. Of course, the Chiefs coming off of a bye, and Denver coming off of that very ugly win last Thursday night against the Raiders. And as we know, folks, Andy Reid does not lose after a bye. Andy Reid is 22-4 in his career coming off of a bye. And on top of that, Patrick Mahomes just doesn't lose to the Broncos. He is 13-1 in his career against Denver. Both the Chiefs and Mahomes under Andy Reid are 9-3 coming off of a bye during the regular season. Mahomes is 15-2 following a loss in the regular season. Meanwhile, Sean Payton is 10-3 against Andy Reid when coaching a team with a winning record. Now listen, Denver has by far the best defense in football. They lead the NFL with 46 sacks, 14 more than any other team, and is on pace to set an NFL single-season record. But both Pat Surtain is hurt, and Alex Singleton is going to be out for this game. And listen, Bo Nix and this Broncos offense has been up and down this season, and that offense was just putrid against a bad Raiders team last Thursday night. But this is a Broncos team that you cannot count out because they love playing in the fourth quarter. But here's a key stat to look at in this game, folks. Denver is 5-0 at home. Kansas City is 1-3 on the road. And of course, before the bye, Patrick Mahomes coming off of the single worst game of his career against a putrid Buffalo Bills defense. And we've been hearing all week and even before this week that if the season ended today, the Chiefs wouldn't be in the playoffs. And I think the Chiefs realize that if they lose this game, their chances of winning the AFC West could pretty much be shot. And look, I can't picture Patrick Mahomes having two bad games in a row. So I'm going to lay the 4.5 here with the Kansas City Chiefs. I think this is a coin flip. I think this is a shot in the dark, but I really just can't pick against Mahomes. I can't bring myself to do it. I just can't pick against the Chiefs and Mahomes. I'm going to lay the 4.5 here with Kansas City. All right, Sunday Nighter. We have a heck of a matchup on Sunday Night Football. We've got the Detroit Lions taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. Philly, 2.5-point favorites here at home. These two teams could very well meet up again in the postseason, a potential NFC Championship preview. And if you might remember, folks, when I made my NFL season predictions on the Tuesday after Labor Day, this was the matchup that I had as my NFC championship. The Eagles are riding a 3-game win streak, and then you had Dan Campbell take over play calling on offense last week against the Commanders, and the only thing that the Lions did was put up 44 points and absolutely destroy Washington. That win, along with a couple of Packers losses, has propelled the Lions into a tie atop the NFC North with Chicago. And the Eagles, look, they have a great pass rush, but a questionable run defense. And we know what that Lions backfield with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery can do. And I know the Eagles are winning games and all, but I have to know, is their offense good? Are they not good? I mean, I don't know. And then you have A.J. Brown calling the team out on Twitch. I mean, he's been grumpy all season long. But anyway, I think the Lions are the more cohesive team, and I think Dan Campbell calling plays on offense is going to continue to do wonders for the Lions. So I'm going to take the 2.5 here, and I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions. All right, Monday Nighter. We've got the Dallas Cowboys taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. Dallas, 3.5-point favorites on the road. Cowboys coming off of a bye, and then the Raiders coming off of that loss last Thursday night against the Broncos. Now listen, both of these teams collectively stink. Geno Smith has been horrible this year, and the Cowboys' defense has been horrible this year. But look, folks, it's going to be a very emotional game for the Cowboys. As we know, the very sad and tragic passing of Marshawn Kneeland. And for what it's worth, to the Cowboys just have a better offense than the Raiders do. So I'm going to lay the 3.5 here and go with the Dallas Cowboys. All right, so my picks this week: Dolphins minus 2.5, Chargers minus 2.5, Rams minus 3.5, Chiefs minus 4.5, Lions plus 2.5, and then the Cowboys minus 3.5. Like, comment, subscribe, click that notification bell to be notified of when I post again, and also follow me on Twitter and on Bluesky at CW Talk Sports. That's CWTALKS Sports, and I will see y'all the next time. Enjoy the football. Peace.